It's recording. Go ahead.
Hello, fight fans, and welcome back to another episode of the Average Joe's MMA Podcast. How are you guys doing? You're here with your host, Tyler, and of course, Sesko. Sesko, how you doing today?
Oh, better than ever. Excited for one of the best lineups the UFC has had to offer this summer. Ending the summer off with a bash. Every single fight on the main card has heavy consequences. They're all either rising stars or just about to get their break and have a shot at the title. A lot of these are either looking to be contenders or already contenders. It's such an exciting main card that what do you think about it? Do you notice any of the big names? Anyone here catch your eye particularly?
Yeah, so you're so right. This is going to be a super exciting card. We're currently recording this at 10:45 on the night before. It's late. We don't give a shit because we really enjoy this. We love what's going on. Before we hop into it, though, I do want to mention that we are going to be hosting a co-stream, a fight companion, if you've watched Joe Rogan before, where we're going to be videoing ourselves, watching the fight, communicating with you guys, interacting, really engaging with the community, and enjoying the fight together because that's what it's all about. So check out our YouTube channel. It's Average Joe's MMA Podcast on YouTube. Just search it on the YouTube, and we're going to be doing a live stream during the fight. So just pull us up. We'll watch it together, and we'll have a great time. But just hopping into the main card, so we had actually just had a recording that it's failed, so we have to redo this. But we were just saying every single fight on this main card is impactful. It means something, and it's bound to be an excellent fight. Most fight cards you find will have one, maybe two. A really good card will have 3 fights where you're like, I really want to see that. But almost every single main card fight is seemingly going to be amazing. So this card, if you're not a viewer every single week, is the fight card you want to absolutely watch.
So you want to roll right into the first card of the main event, which is Kevin Holland against Darren Stewart. This is one of the rare cards you'll ever see where Kevin Holland isn't like the standout, most interesting guy on the entire card. He loves to dance. He loves to talk a lot of smack. He's a very exciting fighter to watch against Darren Stewart, the guy from the UK. Won recently with a nice guillotine choke, so he has like powerful grappling. So it's going to be interesting to see the two collide.
So Kevin Holland, what I really noticed about Kevin Holland, and I'm excited to see, is he's super light on his feet. He looks like a Michael Venom Page out there, where the way he bounces around. I think you mentioned it before. He's like a kung fu black belt.
That's right. He's a second-degree kung fu black belt.
Oh my
God!
Black
belt in Brazilian jiu-jitsu. So very wide skill set.
Yeah, I mean, I would be super intimidated fighting someone that knows kung fu. Like that's like Bruce Lee shit.
I mean, also he has a very, very impressive record to back up that interesting fighting style he has. Mm-hmm. So he showed up to the UFC for the very first time on a Contender Series fight. Dana White actually didn't like him because he talked a lot during the fight. He talked the entire time before the fight, after the fight. And, he thought too much of a talker to be in the UFC. Anyway, so in 2018, Thiago Santos is ranked number 13 in the UFC. He's on his tear to the top where he ended up fighting John Jones and losing after he tore his ACL in the middle of the fight. So amazingly competitive. Thiago Santos needed an opponent, and none of the 6 Contender Series guys were willing to take it. So Dana White called in Kevin Holland. Kevin Holland came in, put on an amazing performance, ended up losing to decision, but still an amazing fight against a very powerful middleweight in Thiago Santos back then.
Yeah, I mean, anyone that could fight Thiago Santos and live to tell their story, especially someone that's now fighting at middleweight. So this dude's fighting at 185, which is insane. The fact that he's flexible means he could potentially be that superstar in the future. I saw an interview with him, and he was saying the reason he speaks during the fights is because that's how he trains. When he's training with the partner, he's like, nice, good shot, or I got you, like that kind of thing. He's just like, it just feels natural to me. He's not even really talking shit, but that almost adds to his character. I like that. I like the fact that he's talking. I don't know why that would be a detriment.
Yeah, I think it goes very well with his fighting style. He dances. He moves very interestingly. He finishes fights at the very end of his blows with perfect proper technique, like he won his last fight earlier this year. But I mean, if we take a look at after his initial loss to Thiago Santos, he beat John Phillips. Then he fought 3 times in 2019. He beat the Gerald Marchart, who Khamzat's fighting today, as a matter of fact. Kevin Holland beat him in decision. Kevin Holland then beat Alessio Dechinko. Lost to a submission against Brendan Holland, but so far this year, this is his 3rd time fighting. He beat Anthony Hernandez, and he beat Joaquin Barkley the last time we saw him. So he's on a tear. He's won 5 out of his last 6. He's trying to, get a streak going against Darren Stewart, who's also been fighting a lot recently.
Yeah, so Darren Stewart hasn't actually lost since November of 2018. So he's kind of on a tear. That's like a hold on, 1, 2, 3, 4.
His last loss was Edmund Shabazi.
He's on a 5-fight win streak. So like this, like we just said, these fights are going to be amazing. We want Kung Fu expert. They both have amazing records. Darren Stewart's been kicking ass as of late. Like, what else can you ask for?
Taekwondo. He's got the great nickname, the Dentist.
Oh my god! Yeah, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson actually mentioned that he thinks the Dentist is going to win. So there you go. I guess it's Darren Stewart.
I don't know. So personally, me, his Average Joes, I want Kevin Holland to win. I think he's exciting. I think he's fun to watch. He's very young. I think he's going to be like an up-and-coming streaking talent for the UFC at middleweight, and maybe even at light heavyweight. He's a young guy. He might grow into a bigger frame.
I would say initially I want Kevin Holland to win, but I wouldn't be surprised if Darren Stewart impresses me and become a fan of his. So it's like I'm just in general, both guys. I'm really excited to see. I think it's going to be good either way.
Extremely high level competition from both. I agree. I don't think it's going to be anything near a one-sided show. Yeah,
and it's not going to be a wrestling clusterfuck, which is going to be the main card, the final fight of the night. So
no, I mean it might. So let's move on to Mckenzie Dern against Rhonda Marcos. So I don't know much about Rhonda Marcos. Mckenzie Dern's fascinating because she comes from a pretty well-renowned Brazilian jiu-jitsu family in Brazil. Born in America, moved back to Brazil, forgot English. Now she comes back and talks with a Brazilian accent. It's beautiful.
The fact that she lost her American accent over time is just so funny to me. But that just shows her commitment. She's 8-1. I'm sure she's a beast. Rhonda Marcos, just looking straight off her record, 10-9. Not the most impressive record. She does have red hair. She's got that going for her. I don't know what else she's got going for her. My opinion, I think Mckenzie Dern's going to take this pretty easily.
Yeah, I think so too. I think I think Mckenzie Dern has been showing a different pedigree of martial arts, particularly in her division. So like now that she's getting some experience, I imagine she'll do pretty well this fight. But you never know. I mean, the women's fights are always extremely, what's the word? Like they're powerful, they're exciting, they're electric. You know what I mean? So there could be a lot of action, particularly in the strawweight division between the two of them. So you never know.
Yeah, you do never know. That's absolutely right.
I'm going to lean towards Mckenzie Dern on my prediction for this. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, just not knowing enough about Marcos, I'm saying Mckenzie Dern. Looking at her age, Marcos is 35, Mckenzie's 27. So Mckenzie has the age advantage. She doesn't have as much tear on her body, and her record's just stellar. Rhonda Marcos, if she's going 1-for-1 in fights, I don't think Mckenzie Dern's going to be a win for her.
Mckenzie Dern's also like she's historically been a very heavy strawweight. Because she's young and she can cut a lot of weight. She's very muscular. So I think she probably will have a size and strength advantage going into this as well.
Yeah, I didn't check, but she made weight for the fight?
I think so. I didn't hear anything about
it. Yeah, I didn't either.
I feel like we'd hear about it considering how it's happened before.
I wonder if any fighters have been caught from like COVID and knocked out of the card. Because from what I've heard and what I've seen, I'm pretty sure everyone weighed in. I'm pretty sure everyone seemingly going to fight, which would be amazing. This card, we have no one drop off. I would freaking love that.
We talked about that last time we spoke, just because it's such an exciting card. It's so electric that it felt like one of them or two of them was going to get dropped. But no, everything's here. Everything came together. Everyone's at the arena.
Oh my god! So I'm actually on the MMA subreddit, and the number one post is Rhonda Marcos consistently inconsistent UFC run. Rhonda Marcos is 14 fights into her UFC career and has never had 2 wins or 2 losses in a row. The longest such streak in UFC history. Like I mean, that's really. So what has she done in her last fight?
Yeah, what was her last fight?
This could be telling. This is science, people. So she did lose her last fight. I mean, come on, people. This is her fight. It's just statistics.
Wouldn't that be something?
Yeah. Oh, well.
Exciting.
All right, and with that, I think we should hop into the remaining 4 fights, all of which, in my opinion, are my top 4 fights of the entire card. So starting it off with Johnny Walker versus Ryan Spann. I mean, what can you really say about Johnny Walker other than one of the biggest hype dreams in recent years, completely derailed, completely off the tracks? But he's been training under John Kavanagh now. He's flipped between a few of the top trainers. He says they're all great, but I agree. Maybe you have to find someone that has your fits your personality, your work ethic, whatever. This could be the way. But going into the fight in the press conference, he doesn't seem as confident as he typically would have. He's not the super energized, outgoing guy he was in previous. He's not untouchable anymore. And that might have some kind of psychological impact on him. I have no doubt he's a tremendous athlete. I think he has incredible skills. I would love to see that translate in the ring because the past 2 fights have not looked great for him.
And his past 2 fights have been against some high-level competition, so let's give his,
no
his
doubt,
opponent some good credit. He lost pretty handily to Corey Anderson, who's an outstanding athlete. I think Johnny Walker.
But then he lost to Nikita Krylov, who is not. He was pretty good, but he's kind of not a big name, So
it wasn't the hype train that Johnny Walker was. Johnny Walker had a giant wave of hype behind him when he became exciting.
Yeah.
I think so. I'm really glad to see. I want to comment that Johnny Walker's moving between different training facilities and different coaches and different systems to hopefully find something that works for him. Right? You got to find that special relationship that the coach knows how to communicate to you in the way you understand, and you can execute the things in the way they're meant to be done. So I hope he finds something that works for him, and that brings him back to his success. Like addressing his confidence, maybe he's right to be a little more timid now that he's faced the upper crust of what the MMA community has to offer in Corey Anderson, who's an amazing athlete who just starched him completely. So I hope that just like we saw Michelle Pereira slow down and be more methodical, I hope to see the exact same thing out of Johnny Walker. I hope to see the same devastating power and precision, just in a more calm, focused manner. That's what I'm expecting and hoping.
I wonder if Ryan Spann's going to try to dominate him in the clinch, maybe try to go for a submission, because it seems like in previous fights, Johnny Walker's just been overwhelmed physically in that aspect. He's a great striker, but you can kind of negate some of the striking if you're up close to him. Ryan Spann, though, does seem a little bit wild. Definitely a great fighter, but he does seem a little bit reckless. Maybe Johnny Walker's able to catch him with a flying knee or something. But Ryan Spann has pretty crazy power. He has great submission skills. He's pretty well-rounded. I think it's a pretty even fight. I'm not really even sure who to predict for this one.
Yeah. I can't. On paper, it's almost impossible to tell the guys apart. One thing I think is going to make a difference into this fight that we're going to notice is Ryan Spann is a very, very strong guy. Mm-hmm. Whereas Johnny Walker uses his lanky build and to create leverage and torque with his power. I think Ryan Spann, just in physical strength, can push Johnny Walker up against the cage and see how he operates there. I don't know how Johnny Walker grapples. I haven't looked into his past enough because he doesn't seem to want to fight there very much.
And that's the thing. That's how he's been beaten. So I really wonder what approach Ryan Spann's going to take to this fight. Do you think he can outstrike him? He does have a 3-inch reach deficit. So maybe he's maybe I shouldn't be striking with them. But they're about the same height. They're basically the same reach. 82 inches to 79. It's not too big of a difference. Right. It all comes down to the game plan of Ryan Spann. I'm pretty sure Johnny Walker is just going to go out there, be pretty calm. I don't see him flying out of the gates first round, giving it all he has. I think he's going to take a little time. Like you said, he's more of a veteran now. After you get a few losses under your belt, you start to understand, hey, I can't just be this reckless guy that I was to get to the point I'm at now. If I had to put a prediction, just so you guys know, the records for Johnny Walker, 17-5, Ryan Spann, 18-5. These guys are pretty identical in so many different ways. I think I have to give it to Ryan Spann. The dude has no pressure on him. Johnny Walker has all the pressure, and he's already been down 2 fights. He has so much to lose, and some people don't always do the best under pressure. I guess we'll see.
I'm going to agree with you. It pains me a little bit to choose against Johnny Walker because I love him so much, and I love his fighting style. And I'd be Dana White, put me in UFC video game. That was amazing. But I think Ryan Spann just has the better toolkit here. I think he's going to be a stronger fighter. I think if Johnny Walker shows some impressive elbows and knees in the clinch, I hope that's where he's done a lot of his training. But I think Ryan Spann has just as much experience, has just as much athletic capability, and I think he's going to come in and exploit what Johnny Walker has been kind of showing other people he has a hard time dealing with.
Yeah,
On top of that, Johnny Walker is also coming off of a pretty terrible injury from when he tried to do the worm. I know that was such a long time ago, but let's be honest. Your body is your tool. If it's damaged that severely, where you need surgery, you're going to carry that in some way.
He fucked up his shoulder and hasn't been the same since.
Right.
doing the worm after a win. But like, that's part of what he was, part of what he is, you know? So I kind of get it. But yeah, we're going to see what happens. It should be epic. Yeah.
I want to move on to the next fight, another fight that has these insane circumstances around it. There's another fight that hangs in the balance of this fight. If Khamzat Chimaev wins his fight against Gerald, is it Meerschaert?
I think it's Meerschaert.
Meerschaert? That's amazing.
I know it's amazing, but like, goddamn, that sucks, right?
Yeah. So I've been reading, and I don't know necessarily how true this is, but I read that Khamzat, if he beats Gerald Meerschaert here, he has an agreement to fight Damian Maia in like a week or two or something like that.
So it was a week or two, and I think they actually pushed it back to November. So in my mind, this was a brilliant piece of marketing by the UFC. They didn't actually plan to have him fight a week later. The whole point was to build hype around him so people would watch this fight. And then if he does win, he's a superstar. So I think it was just genius marketing by the UFC. But something I remember what I was going to say. For each fight, we should get a prediction of who we think is going to win and also who we want to win. Who's the Average Joe? Who's at the Average Joe podcast rooting for? So going back to the last fight, I would pick Johnny Walker. I want Johnny Walker to win. I want to see him get a flying knee KO. I want to see the crazy shit. I think he's an awesome fighter. I'd love to see him win. But prediction-wise, even if it's 55%, 60%, still giving it to Ryan Spann.
Right.
Sorry.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I think in my heart of hearts, I want to see Johnny Walker win and say something outrageous at the camera and have a good time. But
yeah,
I mean, like he hasn't been doing the thing. He hasn't been winning, which is the most important thing. You can do anything fun after a win, but you need to be winning fights to get that.
Here's the thing. You can actually lose if you're really entertaining, but his losses, he wasn't like that entertaining. You know what I mean?
I agree. Yeah.
He just got dominated. So, yeah, I hope at the very least we get to see him and his personality back in the ring. But I think we should hop onto this next fight since we were just talking about it. So for those who don't know the story, Khamzat, I just mumble his name. Khamzat literally had a fight at 170 or 185, and then the next week had a fight at 170. Won 2 fights in like 10 days, took 2 shots, gave like 180 shots. That's a UFC record. No one's ever done that before, and that's why he's gotten so much hype, even though he's only 8-0. He's only 2-0 in the UFC. He's brand new. He's against this guy, Gerald Meerschaert, who 31-13, definitely an older guy. A lot of experience, but I've been watching a few of his fights, and he seems pretty slow. This is what really scares me. He just doesn't seem like he has the speed necessary to deal with Khamzat. I see him Khamzat doing the exact same thing he's always done. He goes in, he'll get a few powerful strikes, and he's really good at going for takedowns right after a strike, making you think he's going to continue striking, going for a takedown. Like a Khabib, but less technical and talented, at least at this point in his career. So he's going to walk up, he's going to kick you, punch you, go straight to the takedown. Once he's on the ground, even though they say he's good, people say, oh, you're really good off your back. You're good at jiu-jitsu. I'm like, if you're on your back against a maul and brawl dude like a Khabib or a Khamzat, like you're fucked. You're in the wrong place. So if that's his strategy, it's not going to be a good day.
Yeah, I think people so something Khamzat's been always saying in a lot of his press conferences is people think he's this one-dimensional fighter. He truly believes he has a fully rounded skill set. So while I do agree with you, I think he's going to take the fight to the ground and dominate it there. I think people are going to be impressed with not just his ability to take down. Like the ability to take down is one thing. The chain wrestling that you do and the different transitions and the body movements you do.
The Dagestani handcuffs is what they call it.
The Dagestani handcuffs or the Dagestani leg irons is what Khabib does when he wraps his legs around the opponent.
Yeah.
So all those are different kind of like moves that I think he's also well versed in. And that's something jiu-jitsu guys naturally have an issue with, is this like constant mobile, moving, mauling like thing on top of you, right?
Yeah, so I think history is gonna repeat itself. I think Khamzat's taking this relatively easily. I don't know if he's gonna be able to fight again in a month and a half. I don't know what kind of damage he's gonna take because they completely disrespected Gerald. Like they booked a fight. No one's ever been booked for a fight after a fight. Like before that fight, the second fight happened or the first fight happened. Like that dude's got to feel some kind of, hey, I need to get my shit going because this is embarrassing if I lose. And it kind of, no matter how much it sucks for me to say this, I don't want to say this. It would be embarrassing for him to lose this in dominating fashion, at least.
So I think Khamzat's like biggest advantage in fighting that I've seen so far in the UFC that he's displayed anyway is this insane tenacity from like second one. Like, you know what I mean? Like some people are slow starters. Like Khamzat is started at like the moment that bell goes. So if Gerald Mearshart has has a strategy, has a physical presence, has some kind of way to just not be overcome by this insane wave of energy that Khamzat brings into his fights just from like second one. I think that could drag the fight into, we haven't seen Khamzat not be in a dominant position. So if he can get him there, I feel like that would be very telling for Khamzat, for Gerald, for the future of the divisions.
That's true. But in the press conference, Khamzat did say, 3 rounds, I fight for 2 hours in a row, no problem. So I don't know if cardio is going to be an issue. We'll see what happens. And what I found interesting was at the weigh-ins, he's at 185 right now. He is there's no fat on his body at all. How does that dude make 170 and hop back and forth? That's crazy to me.
I think,
he's still young. He's 26, to be fair.
That's a lot of it. And the younger you are, the more water weight you can cut. And he seems like an absolute savage. So I can just see him like, yeah, brother, take the blood. Whatever. Yeah, drain it all out. We'll fight 155 next week. Yes.
You can take anything except for my beard. That stays.
The beard weighs 5 pounds.
That's good.
So my prediction is Khamzat's going to win this as well. I haven't seen anyone be able to handle what he has to offer, and I don't think Gerald Mearshart has the intrinsic skill set, looking at his background and his record, to be able to handle it.
Yeah,
and also personally, I want the hype train to continue. I want to see more smashing.
I agree with you on all fronts, except I have watched Gerald. I was like, let me look for something. There's got to be something. I was like, maybe I'll bet on this guy. Maybe he's a huge underdog. Maybe there's an opportunity. He's just slow. And there were fights where he actually, losing the fight, being ground and pounded, brought the guy back into his guard. He fell on his back on purpose and then ended up losing the fight. I was like, if you're only comfortable doing that, this guy's going to just smash you in. So I'm looking forward to it. He gives our Average Joe's MMA seal of approval to Khamzat. We think he's going to win. We think he should win. We want the hype train to continue. We want to see him versus Damian Maia, and we want to see him smash.
Yeah, I want to see him fight Damian Maia and bring someone else in weird, in the same night. I want him to convince the UFC to let him do freak show events. I
want to see him versus a Wonder Boy Thompson. I want to see Thompson pick him apart, and then I want to see, because that'll be a real test to me. If he could get past someone like Stephen Wonder Boy Thompson, holy shit, that dude's a contender.
I mean, him fighting in 2 different divisions makes it that much more exciting because he has that many more potential interesting opponents. You know what I mean?
Imagine a fighter climbing 2 divisions at once. That's never happened before. We've had people win one and then automatically get a championship fight. But imagine a dude climbing imagine being in 2 rankings, like being 8 and 6. That's just insane to me.
I mean, that's what a lot of real high level kickboxers or Muay Thai people do. For example, a very well-known Muay Thai fighter's name is Sanchai. So he at one given time when he was at his peak, he was the champion of 5 different weight classes, and he didn't cut weight. He just fought up. So he'd fight from 135 to 165. It's yeah, whatever.
Wow.
Come on.
Wow, that's crazy.
So Khamzat's doing kind of the true elite trajectory. Like everything else, as the sports evolve, you see more standout, excellent athletes come across with your sport, right? And I think as the UFC develops and MMA keeps going, we're eventually going to see someone be able to do exactly what you just said, is climb 2 different divisions. Someone who's just going to dominate. Look at Amanda Nunes. Isn't that kind of what she's doing?
Yeah, no, it's true.
She's defending back and forth.
That's almost out of necessity, though. It's no one fights her at 145. So. All right, well, so those are our predictions for that fight. Moving on to the co-main event, Donald Cerrone versus Nico Price. Another freaking amazing fight. I was watching the press conference, and these dudes are just laughing with each other, giving each other high fives, but they're so crazy and twisted in the head. Once they get in the ring, it's just all bets are off. These dudes are going wild. Nico Price has gotten upkick KOs. He's beaten people to a pulp from the bottom, just smashing up. It's just insane. Then Donald Cerrone, of course, an absolute legend. He's got that high kick. He'll catch you. He doesn't win all his fights. He's getting older, but this dude has a great skill set. He's coming off a big loss from Conor McGregor, which, that has to have him down. You lost in 30 seconds. He has something to prove. It all depends on which Donald Cerrone we see. And this is what people say every time. It's kind of a slow starter, but if he gets going, man, he really gets going. He'll start dominating the fight. But if Nico Price is able to take it to Donald early, I'm pretty sure Nico's going to be taking this one.
So this fight is super interesting to me because this is two guys who, like you said, perfectly nice guys, enjoy talking to each other, laughing it up. They thoroughly enjoy the violent process of fighting.
That's why they're laughing, because they know they get to just demolish each other, and that just brings such joy to them.
Right. Think about it. This is like the one time, like, you don't get to express this kind of like exercise where you don't have to worry about your partner's safety. Every time in training, the first thing they tell you in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, your biggest responsibility is keeping your partner safe, no matter how hard you choke them or whatever. And fighting, that's off of you finally. You know what I mean? That's the referee's job. It's your job to give it everything you've got. And both of these guys, like particularly Nico Price, loves giving everything he has into his fights.
Do you know Mike Tyson actually said after some first round KOs, he was like, I didn't get it all out. I want to fight again. Because he still had that anger. He's like, what? That was it? Like, I'm done? Like, no, I want to go again.
I mean, I understand that. Like, think of Mike Tyson, who would do like 1,000 sit-ups a day training for his fights, and you do that for 17 seconds of action after you pummel someone. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, prediction though, I'm like 75% sure Nico Price is winning this one. But then again, I just feel like it's so hard to discount Donald Cerrone because I've seen him come back. And beat Anthony Pettis. Like, he's still competing with the top level athletes, regardless of the fact that Conor McGregor just annihilated him.
So I want to know, so this is a co-main event fight. Does that mean this is a 5-round?
No.
So it's a 3-round fight. So I feel like in the 3-round fight format, I think Nico Price, who just has like, a good bit of youth on his side, a lot of that like crazy violent energy and kind of freaky power, like you said. He has 2 knockouts like while under people, which is just unprecedented. Mm-hmm. I think within the 3 5-minute rounds, like he has enough just to be able to unload enough on Donald Cerrone where even if you try to weather the storm, there's going to be too much like storm to weather in that tight, time frame. I think if this is like a veterans 5-round fight, I might lean more towards Donald. Like, wouldn't you agree?
Yeah. Nico Price almost seems to me like a big Tony Ferguson. Like that's kind of how I view him. Like he's just going to do unorthodox weird shit, but it works enough of the time where you're like, wow, I really got to figure that out. And I'm not quite sure Donald, like you said, with not being 5 rounds, I don't think he has the time to actually figure it out and get it done. So definitely go with Nico Price. I also want Nico Price to win. I feel like he has more longevity. I feel like he's a better contender to the people in the higher echelons of the division. So I'm giving it to Nico Price.
So I do think Nico Price is going to win again. I mean, that's the guy you bet on in this situation, I think. But I personally want Donald Cerrone to win because I feel like Donald Cerrone gives a lot to the UFC. So, like, I know people, like, kind of, like, call, like, fighters gatekeepers sometimes, like, insultingly and stuff. But having, like, veteran fighters there to, like, be able to constantly test your new talent against is insanely valuable to the UFC as an organization. Like, just the fact that Nico Price's up-and-coming talent can now either potentially make his name against this giant name of Donald Cerrone. And, like, if he does, rightfully so, then he gets to propel his career to the next echelon.
You're not wrong, but this is exactly why DC wanted to retire. He's like, I don't want to be that guy. So, yeah.
I mean, but there's like pride in being that guy, I feel like, honestly.
I agree. But there's also the sentiment of people are building their name off you. You're no longer building your name.
I mean, I know what that means, but doesn't that like in some way like inspire grandiosity? Like your name's big enough for people to want to like climb upon your shoulders and propel their career.
That's true. And you get paid a premium compared to the guys you're fighting, I'm sure,
Certainly. Yeah. Because just the sheer number of fights, you have like Alistair Overeem money coming in. So, yeah, I want to see Donald Cerrone win because I truly do enjoy the UFC better with him than without him, I think he's got enough years and like enough training and enough like will to continue at least a few more years. And that's all I would want. I don't want to see him go into like the ages where he gets hurt and stuff. I don't want to see him taking steroids over a Bellator,
And he just seems like a great dude. Like I was listening to Chael Sonnen, who said they went to a gas station in a small town. He was like, just buy all the Coors you want. And he threw down a card. He literally had a Coors unlimited beer card. Like, God, the dude's a legend. Like, there's not much you can say.
other fighters like seem to really enjoy fighting him. You know what I mean? Like there was some bad blood with Mike Perry, but pretty much every single fighter gets along with Donald Cerrone. He's a nice guy. He's a good guy for like not necessarily for fighters to look up to, but a good fighter for like young fighters to get to know and get to understand and learn the industry through.
He builds hype without having to shit talk, which is a really good quality to have because too many people try to fake it and then it comes off as fake. People realize it. But with Donald Cerrone, you don't have to fake it. People just know the name and like, all right, I'm watching that fight because I know it's going to be good.
Right. The authenticity of Donald Cerrone and Nico Price, well, for the matter, is just outstanding. Both of these fighters like truly express who they are inside and outside of the ring. And I think putting them together is a genius decision by the matchmakers.
Yeah, and I saw Nico do the weigh-ins. He did some like weird dance on stage. You know?
So speaking of two fighters who like truly fully express themselves honestly, let's move on to the main card to get two people who kind of don't express themselves honestly.
Well, so let's first talk about just what's been going on in like the media lately. So they weren't actually allowed at the press conference together for some reason. We don't know why. My only guess is because Tyron Woodley is only saying Black Lives Matter to every question he's gotten. So in the individual interviews, people get like 10 minutes to talk. Colby Covington gave his. Tyron Woodley comes out wearing all BLM stuff. And then to every question responded, Black Lives Matter. To me, it seems like he's almost trying to convince himself this fighter's greater than it is to get himself hyped, to get himself back into it, to get the fire going. It almost seems like he's doing it all for himself. Like he's trying to build himself up because he's not sure he can do it. Like this fight on paper, Colby Covington's going to smash him. Like there's just seeing the past two fights of Tyron Woodley, he just got absolutely dominated. And he's facing a guy that is relentless and a better wrestler than him. And I think you can pretty much say that's the case because Usman didn't try to wrestle Colby Covington. Usman easily wrestled Tyron Woodley, and there's a reason for that. So I personally think how this fight's going to go is Colby Covington, wrestle him early, tire him out, beat him up on the feet, then chain wrestle, and just repeat, rinse and repeat. How do you think it's going to go?
I think I got to completely agree with you. I think Colby Covington has shown that he is among the elite athletes of the UFC. The pace that he can put on people. He has the UFC striking record. I think, or at least in the division.
Over 500 shots against Robbie Lawler.
So I saw a statistic that compares that. So he has over 500 shots. I think it's like 515 against Robbie Lawler in one fight. Tyron Woodley has around 440 strikes in his last 4 or 5 fights. So like the question of pace is just undeniable right now.
What's even more incredible is the fact that with all those strikes, do you know how many takedowns he was getting? The dude got like 20 takedowns. That's freaking retarded. How is that even possible to get a striking record and then also chain wrestle the whole time? Sure, he doesn't throw his power into everything. He's probably not going to KO you. But this dude, until the 5th round, was beating Usman. If you survive 3 more minutes, that dude's the champion. So, like, I don't think T. Wood stands a chance. I know he's like, this is going to propel me back to the championship. I don't see it happening. I don't think he's the same fighter he used to be.
So, regards to the media thing, like you were saying, like he's like kind of using this to hype himself up in a certain way. I think I want to speak to the genius and like the media personality that is Colby Covington, because like this Black Lives Matter thing, like I'm sure Tyron Woodley like 100% believes in the movement and all those things. But when you like outwardly project your cause on your back like that, it's often some kind of ulterior motive that attracts attention to yourself.
It's a virtue signal.
In some little way. Exactly. In some little way. And the reason that fits so well is because you're doing it against Colby Covington, who's built this massive figure and image of this like kind of MAGA right-wing guy that brings him a lot of attention that he really enjoys the benefit of. But think about it, he's so big with this personality and so well known that all Tyron Woodley has to do to oppose that in a very like attention-grabbing way is like protest against it politically. You know what I mean?
No, I completely get that. And to build hype for the fight, it's a great idea. It's like I said, Colby Covington in the inner press conference is like capitalism versus communism, MAGA versus maggot. He was like, the only thing I'm afraid of in the ring is if Tyron Woodley starts rapping. like Colby Covington is freaking hilarious. But if he's spent a long time building that image, as Tyron Woodley, you're coming out and saying it now, it just means so much less. Like, it's so much less believable. I know Colby Covington's a WWE character. I know that's what he is. But Woodley, it seems like he's being serious about it. I don't know. It's not a good look for him to do this. And then when asked, what specific issues do you have with this cause? he just responded by saying Black Lives Matter. He didn't know anything about it. He doesn't want to expand on the issues. He doesn't want to actually help anything in that regard. It's all like a media thing. It gets people hyped for the fights, but like I said before, I think it's also hyping himself up. I'm not fighting for myself. I'm fighting for all the black people that are dying by cops. Like that in his mind, I think that's what he's doing.
Yeah, that's my cynical belief too, because I feel so like, it's a business we're watching. We're watching entertainment, and there's a certain amount of showmanship to it. Do you remember? So Colby Covington, like you said, started his kind of shtick a long time ago when he fought in Brazil and called the Brazilians filthy animals. And then since that, he just kind of went this.
You have to have balls to do that, dude.
Yeah, dude.
To call it Brazilian, dude, they would legitimately kill you. Yeah. I was amazed he did it so confidently.
But yeah, he was gonna get cut before that fight. Like Dana White
I don't
said,
think
this is
so,
your last
dude.
fight.
I
could be right.
I think that was all made up, but that's what you said. That's what people believe. So does reality even matter if you can make your own reality? I don't know.
I mean, it sells fights. I hope. Like I said, we both kind of agree. We think Colby Covington's going to win. I think Colby Covington should win. I think he's done all the things necessary to come to this position. He became he shows the work ethic. His cardio is undeniably among the best in the UFC. There's no very few fighters that can compete with him on a gas tank level. I don't think Tyron has shown gas tank like that. I think he got broken in some part against Kamaru Usman, who just neutralized him entirely. Similar to what you saw with Anthony Smith when he went against John Jones, it also got neutralized entirely and hasn't been able to find the fighter's confidence to come back.
Yeah.
So and I was going to say that his Tyron Woodley's losses are against grapplers. Colby Covington's the elite of the elite in that. And if you're grappling with a giant gas tank, you're a monster to deal with.
Yeah.
And I don't think Tyron has the tools, the gas tank, maybe even the will to beat what Colby has behind, mentally, physically, and who knows, politically. He's got the movement behind him.
So go ahead. Sorry.
I'm going to say every punch Colby Covington does is like a stamp of Trump.
That's so funny. Yeah. So the one benefit I think T Wood has is obviously his right hand, his power. They always say it. Everyone has a puncher's chance. I don't think it's very likely. But having watched I just last night or 2 nights ago, I watched a few of Colby Covington's fights. He takes some shots. He's very he seems to be pretty durable, except for that obviously 5th round for Usman got taken out. But he does take some shots. So I wonder if Tyron Woodley does land one powerful shot, if that can shake him, maybe end the fight there. That's entirely possible. I just think it's pretty unlikely. Going to this fight as well with the press, Colby Covington is way more subdued than usual. Usually he's talking way more shit. He's all over the media. It seems like he's on a man on a mission. It seems like this is probably what he was back in the day. He's like I said, he's not talking as much as he did. I just think he wants to show it. I'm pretty sure he knows Trump's going to be watching because he was at a Trump rally with Henry Cejudo and Justin Gaethje. So, I think he's just going to make a statement. I think it's going to be a big statement. I think he's legitimately going to end Tyron Woodley's career.
Yeah, I don't know. This is what we talked about at the beginning, is that all these fights have insane consequence, and this one is as the most, right? This is deciding who's going to be the next contender for the championship. This is going to decide if Tyron Woodley potentially even competes anymore at all, if he's going to keep rapping
oh my God,
Colby said.
But the thing is, I don't think there's no guarantee this fight's incredibly entertaining. This is the one caveat I'll give to you. There's a big chance Colby Covington just wrestles his ass down like Usman did. It wasn't entertaining. It was dominant, though. But regardless, the rest of the card is super good, and this card is that fight is so meaningful. It's gonna be enjoyable regardless.
Right, it's gonna be extremely tense. Regarding Tyron Woodley's right hand, I think what we're seeing a lot is really smart coaches. I'm sure Colby Covington works with elite level coaches. If you're a one-trick pony and you have one big move, let's say DC versus Stipe, when DC had that overhand right on clinch breaks and stuff like that tore Stipe apart. Stipe neutralized it. He said, always hang on that side, grab that arm, don't let him fire that shot. Mm-hmm. There's ways to get around your one big shot if that's what you're going to rely on. So I think Tyron Woodley coming up in his career, the right hand was a secret. Now Colby Covington is again, that's all I have to really watch out for. I think he beats him everywhere else on that. Beats him on the ground, beats him standing up with pace, beats him up against the cage if that's where the fight goes. I don't think Tyron Woodley has the cardio to fight there.
It seems like Tyron Woodley's one move is stutter step, fake punch. He'll walk up, throw his fists really quickly, and then throw a right hand. Almost every single time. Almost all of his KOs are that. I think people have watched enough film where they're like, yeah, I'm just not going to fall for that. And I'm guaranteed Colby Covington's fought enough power punchers where he's like, I've seen this before. I really don't think it's going to be a big issue. And they were training partners at one point.
Sure.
And there's something to say about that.
Yeah, I think we said all there really is to be said about this fight. I think Colby Covington gets the prediction, and I think he should win.
Yep.
Yeah, I think he's going to show us that he deserves to win. Unless, whatever. Like this is fighting. It's cage fighting. Go anyway. You know what I mean?
It's true.
See, maybe Tyron Woodley does like a head kick KO. He's been He's been training at American Kickboxing Academy, Thailand. So what if he just comes out Thai style and starts throwing like head kicks and stuff?
I hope so. I would love to see that. Like, make me a fan. I'm happy to see it. Pretty unlikely. Likely not going to happen.
Yeah, I don't think – particularly when you're fighting, I feel like with any sport like that I played, it always felt like this. You can think about all that you want, but what you have drilled and trained in most of your life is what your body's naturally going to do when it comes to those decision-making times.
And that's all fighting is. It's just the instinct. It's the muscle memory.
And this is a 5-round fight. Like, you're not going to – against Tyron Woodley's fighting against the biggest gas tank in the UFC, arguably. I don't think he's going to have enough time or energy to be able to implement any new tricks he may have learned along the way.
And you know what's interesting? Looking at the I agree with you, but looking at the weigh-ins, Colby Covington, it says he's 1 inch bigger. He looks like 2 or 3 inches bigger than Tyron Woodley. He looks bigger. And I was surprised.
All these guys lie about their like heights and weights. You know what I mean? Like when I was getting scouted for college football, all the coaches told me to wear lifted shoes. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure you heard the same thing.
No, my coach would put me like 220, and I was like 200 pounds.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I think it's some of that too. Tyron Woodley probably doesn't want to, be 5'7" or whatever he really is.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that about covers it. I'm super hyped for the fight. I'm not quite sure if we got it in this take, but I'm going to mention it again. On YouTube, Average Joe's MMA Podcast. Look us up on YouTube. We're going to be doing a co-stream, a fight companion, if you will, like Joe Rogan's had. We're going to be watching the fight live. Please join us. We would love to interact with you guys, get a conversation going, watch the fights together, because that's what it's all about here at Average Joe's MMA. We're just trying to bring people together. We're not professional athletes. We're not professional coaches. We're fucking average Joes, and we love that. And you probably are too. So let's do it together. Let's watch the fights together. You can follow me on Twitter at @TVEX_MMA. I think I have 1 follower now. Please be number 2, baby. Do you have a Twitter yet or no?
Not yet. Still working on it. One thing I do want to say before we break is I know our fight campaign is going to start and only do the main card. But the 2 last fights on the prelim card are featuring the first fight is Mirsad Bektic. The second fight is David Dvorak. 2 very interesting fighters on the up and come of their career. If you're interested in getting there early and watching a couple of good fights, those are 2 to watch out for.
So there's a chance we started a little earlier than the main card, but regardless, I think I'll be talking about those fights because I plan to watch them. So just so everyone knows, 8 p.m. Eastern time is when the main card starts. So that's likely when the live stream is going to be starting. And with that, that's all we have got today. We're super hyped for the fight tomorrow, and we'll see you guys soon. Later.
Yeah, thank you everyone for listening.